ignition. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, like girls, better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
We got a fun room here today.
Boom.
The vibes were immaculate prior to entering this room.
They really were.
Like, I can feel like today's going to be a good day.
It's Friday, right? It's every workplace, right?
Man.
What is it about Fridays? Why
TGI.
can't Mondays feel like Fridays?
I think I know exactly what it is about Fridays, Chris. It's because the next 2 days you're not working.
But although I'm here for Chris starting his own chain of restaurants called TGI Mondays.
What's on the menu at the TGI Monday?
Sadness
Salad bar, like a sad salad
Like
bar.
eating light.
and regret.
I had so many carbs on the weekend that it's just no carbs today.
No carbs Monday.
A little bit of
Hey,
X-Lax.
maybe it would be like a nice health food spot. TGI Mondays. Yeah, maybe. Guys, I have a huge hypothetical question I've been dying to ask. Both of these things feel like they are positives, but one has to be more positive than the other. Before I pose that question,
Oh, boy. We're taking a trip on a Dan Le Batard roller coaster
we
here.
sure
Can you just
are.
get to the question,
The
man?
question is going to come after we play a pair of videos. First up, as we know, the day journalism died. Dan Le Batard went to a Panthers game, wore a Panthers jersey, and banged the Panthers drum. And this is what it looked and sounded like.
He practiced that way.
So Dan, first of all, my favorite part of the video
That part.
is that right there. My second favorite part of the video is before he starts drumming. He has a maniacal, before the wave even, he looks like he's Ray Lewis about to run out the tunnel. He hasn't run out the tunnel yet, but you could see he's getting into the game mode.
It's like he's got his posture facing upward, but his neck is looking down. So he's like, his posture is pointing up, but his neck is looking
He does
down.
not
and
look
waving.
human. Like, you were to tell me this was an AI robot, I would absolutely believe it. And he's going for, like he thinks this is the most intense moment of his life here.
He's not going for it. He's got it. That is intensity.
Tony, is this goblin mode or demon time?
No, he's on demon time right now. He's on demon mode. That's a face that I don't want to see ever.
You walk around the corner. This alley is a nice quick shortcut. You see that waiting for you on the other end.
Yeah.
You're terrified.
That's star player in an elimination game in the
Oh, yeah.
playoffs.
Also, a little bit drunk.
Oh yeah, I mean,
a little.
What?
Well,
A little?
Dan Le Batard drinks? So we've got the Dan thing. Now, he was, as Tony pointed out, a little quick on the beat, right?
oh, I'm telling you, in the arena, it's perfect timing. Like I know from our angle,
we're not
this
in the
video-
arena.
Okay,
We're
but,
here.
Hold
but
on.
he's doing it for the arena.
Hold
I'm
on.
telling you, he did perfect.
No, the fourth time, it was a little bit too fast. The rest of the time,
That happens.
Okay, so that's what you guys have been saying all week. But then, last night, Jaime Jaquez gets to bang the drum, right? And so this is Jaime Jaquez banging the drum in a Panthers jersey.
Let's go Panthers! Let's go Panthers! Let's go Panthers!
He thinks he's gonna impress me with chanting along. Like that, Dan was way better than him.
No.
All he was doing was elbow. Like there was no energy in that.
Seeing Jaime's makes me think that Dan thinks you have to hit that thing really hard
Yes.
for it to be that loud. And nobody told them that, no, these drums are just loud.
Okay, so now that we've seen both and heard both, if we're just listening, I asked the hypothetical. Would you rather be on beat like Jaime Jaquez, or would you rather be more hype like Dan Le Batard. Because Jaime's was on rhythm. Everything you guys told me earlier this week was a lie.
But I bet you're watching it from that angle. I bet in the arena that was a tad slow. I'm telling you, because there's a delay with the claps. You need to be a little ahead. I'm telling you, I'm a 4-year season ticket holder. I know this you're getting to this. It's like your third drum you've ever heard. I've heard dozens of these
This guy's
things.
heard a lot of drums. I can tell.
I'm telling you, he nailed it.
Come on, you're going to have to defer to Chris Cote here.
I'm not going to defer because, number one, I've been to a lot of sporting events, and what I've learned over the years, and Izzy, back me up on this, most crowds are off rhythm. You can't trust them.
Oh,
His timing was fine. His timing was fine, but it wasn't great.
His Jaime?
Are we talking about Jaime's or
Jaime,
Dan's?
like, come on, guys.
His timing was Jaime.
His timing was fine, but it wasn't as good as Dan.
There are performative aspects to the person that is bestowed this honor. So it's not just the cadence, which is important, but it's also the job is to get the people hyped.
Exactly. See, you would think, like, just from the outside looking in, you would think that Jaime is this, like, sort of humble star, right? He is the basketball player. Here's the people that, the person that people should know more, should embrace more than Dan. So he's just hitting it, boom, 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 boom. Hey, I'm doing my thing. Dan makes it look like everybody is here for me. And for those, however many seconds it was, we were there for Dan hitting that drum the right way. He might have scared children a little bit.
You know
but
what?
For the most part, he nailed it.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when you watch the dunk contest and you see a guy
Never seen one.
who clearly not only spent time thinking about this, but had people like tell him, coach him up on all the external aspects. You got to play to the crowd. You have to have a presence. And then there's the other guys like, well, I'm just going to go out there and wing it. And Jaime Jaquez, it feels like there's like, play the drum, cool, didn't think about it until he got to the arena and said, here's the drum. And the lady, like she did for the Dan video, probably told him, hey, this is how you do it. And if it's really good, we'll ask you to do it a fourth time or whatever.
Jaime didn't need 3 tequilas to calm his nerves.
It was 4. And it was mezcal. A little different.
Jaime, by the way, is he in this rotation now, or is he out of this rotation as he is with the Miami Heat?
You tell me.
I'd say he's out.
Has there ever been a repeat? Luongo probably did it once before.
Yeah,
and they
Luongo's-
called him back in
They called him
action for
back.
the biggest game in franchise
I
history.
think Mike McDaniel's done it more than once. They will go back
How
to
long
some
have they
people.
been doing this?
That's a good
I
question.
want to say
Roy.
like 3 seasons.
Yeah, just about.
This is like one of the
Semi-new.
one of the marketing initiatives of the new ownership group, yes?
Well,
Yeah.
once we were playing meaningful games, they're like, we need something here to hype up the crowd.
So,
Yeah.
so when the team gets bad again, the drum will go away?
No, I don't think so. The Panthers, you can't find anything on the internet of this. I've been trying to secure video of this. Remember, for like a 2-week period, they had monks ringing a bell.
Say what now?
They had a guy named Friar Puck.
Wait, hold
and
on.
they had monks.
With the bald head and the
They
fur
would
around
wear
the ring?
robes.
friar,
And
haircut.
like the internet has been scrubbed of this. All I could find was a Reddit post, and it was like, you guys remember when the Panthers did that weird thing with the monks? There was like a 2-week stretch, and it was received so poorly.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Is the most impressive thing the ability to scrub everything off the internet? Because that's happened to me too, Mike, where I'm looking for something, I know it existed, and then the only evidence I can find is like a Reddit post from 5 years ago talking about it, and then I'll like, maybe someone will link it, and I find the link, like, aha, click on the link, this video is no longer available. How do they do it?
Makes
The
you think.
internet?
Like, are there people whose job it is out there? Like, I can hire someone and say, hey, I want this off the internet. And they, like, a week later, they come back to me and they're like, you're good.
Might be a Panther thing, because I remember in the mid-'90s when the Panthers made their cup run and Quad City DJs had the world by the balls.
No, what a
The
time.
Power 96 would play the Panther Train. There was a Panther Train version
A
of Come On
specific-
Ride the Train.
Let me tell you something. That nobody milked multiple versions of a song like the 90s.
What about North Carolina? Wasn't there one for, like, every city?
Yep.
But
Petey Pablo?
I've been trying forever
Miami.
to secure Come On Ride the Panther Train. Because instead of like the chugga chugga, like it goes like Niedermeyer, Svela, like it just like rat-a-tat-tat.
I'm telling you, the
players'
90s
names.
The 90s were good for one thing and one thing only. We're going to take this. Oh, this song was a hit? Okay, I'm going to go to multiple markets and multiple businesses, and we're going to tailor it to you. There was a version of This Is How We Do It that was about New York. No one remembers it. They used to play it on
Really?
Hot 97 only. only on Hot
So
97.
Montel Jordan would be riding in a 6'4", or would he not be riding
And that
a
was in
6'4"?
the height of the
'Cause
West
that's
Coast,
not a-
East Coast.
It was
Exactly. That's
right
not a New York thing.
right before the tensions popped.
Okay, so he
it's-
could get away with it?
Yes, it was right before the tensions popped. But yeah, like this is my favorite thing. It's like, is it like you guys were singing that Chapel Roan song that I'd never heard of? Or
I mean, that's crazy.
You're
I've
doing the
never heard
Roy
in my
thing.
life.
Like,
That's
I've
ridiculous.
never heard this popular
I'm telling
song.
you,
I've
I've
never
heard
heard
of
that
it.
song.
You never heard it either?
No, I don't listen to. What's the name again?
Chapel Roan,
Chapel
Pink
Roan.
Pony
Look,
Club.
I
What
know-
are we doing?
I know.
Santemic?
Nobody ever gets more offended than Roy does when you ask him about popular culture. It's like, of course I haven't heard of that. What do you think?
I didn't say. Of course, I never heard of that.
Like,
I just
your
never
voice-
heard
have
of
to.
it.
You didn't
It's
have
one of
to.
those
That's the way
songs
my
that-
voice sounds. God damn
I
it!
know
Damn.
your eyes did it too.
Mean too. I mean,
No, but I'll tell you how it happens. Because of technology, I live in a world where I don't listen to current music. Like all the music I listen to is the music that I select, and the music I select is mostly 90s R&B and 80s, and sometimes a little old school soul and stuff. But I don't listen to current music. And by the way, most of the time when I get in a car, I don't even listen to music. I'm listening to podcasts because I'm trying to catch up to either this show or All Fantasy Everything or Cinephobe, which this week we're doing Nothing But Trouble, featuring Chevy Chase and Demi Moore and Tupac's first acting role. Check it out, Cinephobe, wherever you get podcasts. But that's what I listen to. And so there's no radio. There's nothing that
You're
would
on
make-
social media. There are inescapable pop songs. That's still very much a thing. Like Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, you
No.
could not escape it. You
I don't-
Yeah, you know
Sing, like sing it for me. Like that's the problem. Like no, maybe you're doing it wrong. But
the SNL Domingo skit.
That was fire.
no, I don't watch SNL.
Okay.
But like I'll give you an example.
Given F
Bad
is
Bunny.
on vacation.
Oh yeah, okay.
There you
That's
go.
It?
See.
And, oh yeah, I've seen it, but it's like it's always. I haven't heard the song. I've heard people do like parodies of it, like I'm going to the bathroom now. I'm
Yep.
gonna take a massive dump.
Yeah,
Like-
you got the cadence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like I've heard.
Yeah, you
I've
got
heard,
it.
but I have not heard the actual song. Right? Like, but compare and contrast. I don't have any Bad Bunny in my Spotify. I've heard all these songs a million
Yeah,
times.
well, you come to Miami.
Thank God.
Yeah.
The biggest artist on the planet, by the way. Sorry.
but I'm just saying, like, to me, when people are like, this is a big deal, I'm like, no, it's not.
I
Like,
mean,
if it was a big deal, it would have pierced.
I almost had my gay card taken away by a bunch of straight dudes because I didn't really recognize that song off the top. And so I agree with you, Mike, that like, yeah, there's inescapable songs, but that one was escapable for some people, I would say.
Is it?
I don't know what's happening right now.
Well,
It's the most anthemic song that's come out in the last like 5 years.
I'd never heard it. I'd never
All
heard.
right,
I
but
heard
you
of
could-
it.
you-
I'd heard of it.
Right.
But I've never heard
but
it.
then you heard it.
Yeah. It's
And
all right.
I
Because-
saw the
I'll tell you-
goosebumps.
I'll
I saw
tell-
the goosebumps
you-
on your arm.
It's freezing in here, number
crazy.
one. Number two, I'll tell you how you know it didn't move me because the very next song on the playlist was Toto Africa. And I got out my seat, and guess what? What did you say, Chris?
The room did.
It picked up.
You can't mess
There
with
was a pop.
Toto, baby.
There was a pop.
Give it 30 years, you'll get Pink Pony
Sure.
Club.
Okay.
It's also like the most unfortunate battery dying situation of my entire life.
Yeah, that was wild.
You have this wonderful prologue and you're building up to the hook and the battery just died. I had to start the song all over again because without the build up, the chorus doesn't mean anything.
So I want to spin the wheel of topics here.
Wait, I have an update on Friar Puck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and also I challenged the internet because I specifically want video or sound of the Panther train from the mid '90s that was played on Y100 and Power 96.
I've been searching, can't find it.
the internet, man. The Panthers have the internet on lock, and I need Friar Puck video.
George Richards, according to an article in 2009, he said that Friar Puck was a guy named Jeff who lives in Coral Springs. Now, that's 15 years ago, but Jeff from Coral Springs, if you were Friar Puck and you are listening, please reach out to the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
And by the way, while we're putting the internet on, finding things that the internet destroyed, can we find the intro from the Montreal Canadiens hockey playoff intro in arena from like roughly 2009, 2010, where I believe that they were playing the Bruins, and this is right when the projection on ice technology was new, and it starts with like 1912, 4-1, 1913, 4-2, and they just start, and it starts picking up pace faster, and it took me a while to realize, oh, they're saying every time y'all played them, they whooped y'all ass. Like all the records.
badass.
That's the most badass intro I've ever seen in my
Somebody
life.
on that.
For a playoff game.
Did you ever see the one with Ole Jokinen gathering up the rest of the Florida Panthers while they're dressed in like mid-2000s MMA garb, and he's just going about town while Non-Points cover of In the Air Tonight is playing? Because that is crazy.
Is that scrubbed off the internet?
No, I found that. I actually had that one saved on my phone.
Yeah, you got to
I'll
save
text
stuff.
it to you.
You got to save stuff.
Ole Jokinen turns into a Panther.
But I do want to spin this wheel. And the wheel only has 2 options on it.
What?
You want to give us the options?
Never happened before.
Generally, we know the options before we spin the wheel.
Option 1, I'm setting it up. Option 1, LeBron James. Option 2, Steph Curry.
Can we throw a third one in there? Because otherwise you're just flipping a coin, which is
No,
like it should be a
it's a
new
wheel.
sounder.
We're spinning a wheel.
Can we
It's a
do
wheel.
A wheel needs a third thing on
No,
it
it does.
least, right?
Izzy's so right about this. You can't have a wheel with 2.
Let's just
it's
put a
halves,
third
though.
one
It's
on
two
there.
halves.
Then we flip a coin. If we're doing it this way, we flip a coin.
We're doing big names. We'll just throw J. Cole on there.
Okay.
As a third option.
All right.
Ready? Here we go.
Jeremy, you want to tell us what it lands on?
Oh, J. Cole.
Wow. Wow, that wasn't one of a means topics.
Can we take another spin?
No.
The disappointment on your face, man.
Oh,
We'll get
Tony,
back
Tony,
to it.
what did
didn't
it land
stop
on?
yet.
J. Cole.
Wow.
It too, Tony.
There's no chance in hell he's going to your funeral, Amin.
Whoa!
There's no chance in hell J. Cole's going
What's
to your
that
funeral.
supposed to mean?
Is he going? How is he going to your funeral? How close are you guys? Because, like, look, I'm a maybe.
At my funeral? Jesus. Wow. Oddball, Monday through Thursdays.
It's like,
What state is it in?
exactly. Is it in Arizona or is it here? Depends on where
I've
you
given
die?
instructions to my family that to bury me wherever I am.
Wow.
Okay.
I
Well, we
remember
know there's been a bad car accident. We know that.
The premonition, right?
Yes,
of course.
the premonition.
And that's more likely to happen in South Florida with South Florida drivers. So let's just say it happens.
Let's put something to rest.
Huh.
Bad drivers are everywhere.
Thank you.
This is
See,
not.
they're more
Thank you.
concentrated down here, I would argue.
No.
I think the farther south you go in the world, the worse the drivers
This is
are.
what I'll say is in New York, they're reckless. They're not bad. Like, they know what they're doing, but it's just like you're taking risks that you don't need to take. Other than that, everywhere else, they're just bad.
All right. So we're already, everybody is in agreement here. No chance Michael Jordan is showing up at Amin's funeral, right? Because he also implied that yesterday.
Maybe. He might be.
Okay, he's a maybe.
I think we get the third crying meme.
Certainly not if it's in South Florida.
He's not crying. He's not crying at my funeral. He's coming to the funeral, but he's not crying. Michael Jordan? He's coming, but he's not
Michael
crying.
Jordan is coming to your funeral
Senior.
in South Florida.
Yeah, he's here all the time.
If you died in Arizona,
Wait.
what if you died in Cleveland? There's no chance.
Okay, if I die in Cleveland, then that obviously impacts greatly how many people are coming to the funeral. But if my funeral is in New York, South Florida, or Arizona, or California,
Or
So it-
Ibiza.
So
or yeah, Ibiza.
it's in
Ibiza.
Cleveland.
You know what? I'm gonna put it in my will. Bury me in Ibiza.
I'm out, by the way, if it's in Cleveland.
If it's in Ibiza, you're not coming.
Ibiza,
Come
maybe.
on now.
It's a strong maybe. There's no chance J. Cole shows up as the most famous person at your funeral and just sits there and is just one of the guys.
Maybe he performs.
I don't. Okay, this is uncomfortable because I don't want to get into this conversation, but I don't think you understand, like, the level of friendship.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could get a message to him.
Get a message. I could call him right now.
Could you?
Yeah.
Can you get him on the phone?
Don't
I'd like
do
to
that. Don't do
definitely
that.
I would love to talk
Call
about
him
Show,
Kyle.
man.
Call him Kyle.
I'm not definitely not gonna do that. But like again, like this is like, so I don't. I'm not gonna get into it. It's a family thing.
Can we spin the wheel again?
Yeah, let's
Spin the
spin the wheel
I
again.
told
I
you
didn't know
guys.
it was that-
I
didn't know it was
trusted
that
Tony.
crazy.
I trusted Tony.
I
and
still don't think he's showing up.
Where's the wheel FX?
I still don't believe he's showing up.
And Jordan too. Jordan too for sure.
Did I say J. Cole?
No.
That
It
was
landed
off
on
the wheel.
LeBron James. And I will say, before we get into whatever your topic is, Stephen A. Smith has just tweeted.
This is my topic.
Okay, did you see what he tweeted?
So let's set it up for the people who don't know. They went to sleep early last night. They don't know what happened.
Late
They haven't,
game.
they haven't talked to anybody. They don't know anything. All right. So the Knicks play at the Lakers. Big game. TNT game. All the luminaries are out. All the legends are out for Dan Le Batard, right? A fan captures video of, in the middle of the game, LeBron James confronting Stephen A. Smith about, well, let's try to read lips, right? 'Cause there's no
Definitely
volume.
shaking the head.
If we try to read lips, it
Doesn't look
seems
like a happy exchange.
Well, it's not a happy exchange, but specifically, it seems to be about something, don't talk about my son.
That what you see?
Oh wow.
That's
I
what
tried-
it
Let me
is.
see
So
this again.
the internet, the best that they can deduce, the lip syncing quotes that they've pieced together is, "I'm gonna tell you, bro, one time, keep my son out of this bleep, bro.
Is that Scotty Brooks in the background just chewing gum, by the way? Look at him right there.
Just checking it
Might
out.
as well be popcorn.
Yeah. What's going to happen here? Oh, nothing.
I mean, I don't want to just rip LeBron, but Bronny is a G League NBA player.
Well, let's get
Like,
a little bit of
why are we
context here.
keeping anyone out of this that is in the league?
But we believe, because this is what we believe happened, at least the internet sleuths, is that during one of his podcasts, Stephen A., in the visual portion of the podcast, they're playing clips of Bronny just being bad. And they're not really talking about that necessarily. They're just playing clips of Bronny being bad, which is kind of what the internet is these days. It's clips of Bronny being bad.
That's just a producer.
And right. So it might not be Stephen A.'s fault, but he's getting this message across in a very public way to Stephen A. directly and storming off.
So
I don't control the B-roll.
it's the Chris Cote of the Stephen A. Smith show who's doing this? He's just pushing buttons?
I mean, I just don't think that, Dan is not selecting the clips we have on B-roll over when he's talking. Like, sometimes they are...
I don't know, Jim. I don't know about that. There's been a lot of times he selected a lot of the B-roll.
So-
Like yesterday.
It's kind of
And the day before that.
Have it in the corner.
But there's that one time where he's like, I didn't want that on there. That could have happened.
So the Stephen A. Smith tweet is we're still calling them tweets, even though it's on X, right?
Do me a favor. When you're done reading it, text it to me so I can read it.
No, how about that?
Oh,
No.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need redundancies here.
Oh.
I'm just going to text it to you right now.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But basically, Stephen A. Smith has been ridiculing Bronny while we're waiting for this tweet to come in. The question is what Chris said, which is, if he's in the league, which he is, isn't he fair game? Like, could he have told Stephen A. Smith, hey, stop talking about Gabe Vincent? Could he have done that? Would that be a request?
Perhaps
that's all
Dalton
right?
Connect.
That's not one of those that LeBron does in front of everybody. That's one of those he does in the back hallway. Hey, take it easy on Dalton,
I texted
will
you two things: scroll past Ole Jokinen turning into a Panther.
Yeah. This is a terrifying look. This guy.
He does look like a cat, though. Like
Not as much
Ole
as,
Jokinen
not
looks
as
like a
much
cat?
as Sam Reinhart.
No.
Sam
No.
Reinhart looks like a Panther. I'm telling you, pull up a picture of just Sam Reinhart without take his helmet off. I love when our friends mess up, huh? There's nothing better when our friends.
we get to you?
Greatest
Call them
comment
Sam.
in the world.
What did I do earlier?
Ran hat.
Bribes? No, not
We were
bribes.
having I was like, great Friday. God damn.
All right, that's
All right,
enough.
here we go.
That's enough.
Friday
Here we go,
bribes.
guys.
Okay.
This is what Stephen A. Smith tweeted verbatim. I didn't want to have to address this. I wouldn't have either had it not gone viral. Now, I have no choice. First take. First at 10 a.m. Eastern. Then the Stephen A. Smith Show on YouTube. Some things just have to be said.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Some things just have to be said.
$100 million.
So, Tony, you do MMA Hangout.
I do.
No one heard it.
Coming up this Saturday, by the way.
Oh, where at?
New spot. American Social in Brickell. On the water. The boys going to be out at MMA Hangout.
I like that place.
Come
right
on
there
now.
the river.
So
Yeah.
we're going to be there, presented by Cuervo. New look, by the way. New everything. Brought to you by Cuervo. UFC 313. Very exciting.
So, whenever they have, there's a Cuervo bottle right there. Whenever they have the fight posters, right, for the big fights, they always have like a tagline. Every dog has his day, or whatever. Tell me that this isn't a great tagline. Some things just have to be said. Ding, ding, ding.
It's like a Creed poster when he fights Jonathan Majors.
Absolutely.
Some things just need to be said.
Just need to be said.
Was this a favor for Stephen A. Smith then? Because look, the whole thing about Bronny being criticized, like Stephen A's not the only person that's doing it. It's not even the first person I think of.
Who's the first person you think of?
I just think of I think of this one dude's voice that is just like Bronny's on fire. I don't know what he does, but he's just like, oh, there he is with the lay, and it's like a complete air ball, and it's just hilarious. I don't know what it is, but that's the first person I think of. To me, like this whole Bronny gets bad publicity stuff, and he's being the dad, like it's such kind of BS. Like he's sort of selective protecting of him, because I remember back in the day, like I was trying to do a story on, this was maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago. Actually, no, he was so about 8 years ago. He was with Cleveland. I'm trying to do a story on players whose dads played in the NBA, and trying to talk to them about how they raised them, whatever. And he was like, no, I don't want my son in the media like that.
His son is already an NBA player.
No.
At
Not
that
yet.
time. Okay.
This was at the time he was still coming up, and I was just like, well, wait a second. Like, first of all, I don't even have to talk to him. Just talk about how you raise him and you're thinking of it. But he definitely pushes him out there since then and has put him out there in the public eye more so than even I was.
So Izzy, I have an example where I have an NBA player, retired NBA player, who confronted me about what I said about his son's contract, and like confronted me, not like, hey man, why are you saying that stuff? Like ran up on me. And so then I sat there in the lobby of the JW Marriott in LA, and I just said, like, yo, man, here's the deal. Like, I'm talking about this stuff from a contract standpoint, from a guy who worked for teams. And, like, when I broke it all down, he was kind of like, touche. It was like Ben Stiller in Dodgeball, right? He was like, okay. And then I proceeded to have the same conversation with him 2 more times, like in different places. One time All-Star Weekend and one time. And so I was like, wow, this dude's really overprotective of his son. Like, come on, he's a grown man. He's in the NBA, and he's not even a rookie. He's a guy who's on his second deal or whatever.
A very good guy is what would you
the
say?
the current player or the older player?
The current player. So I can try and figure out who the dad is.
Not like okay.
I think it'll be pretty obvious.
A decent guy, decent guy, okay. Right?
Michael Thompson.
If he tells his name, we're gonna try to figure it out.
That's what I thought it was. That's what I thought it was. But Clay is too good to be okay.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
But here's why I found out what the deal was. Because then I had a run-in with the son. And the son was decidedly not like the father. The father was like, and I was like, all right, man. The son was passive-aggressive and like whispering to people, like, oh, don't trust him. Like
kids these days.
We were in a social kind of setting, and he went around whispering to everybody, oh, hey, he's a reporter. Don't. I'm not a reporter. Everyone knows that. But it was like, whatever, man. And then I found out that later on in the night, after I went to a different place, he shows up with his people, and he was sitting behind me, and the whole time he was like gesturing and stuff. But then when I got up to go to the bathroom, it was like, oh,
wow, what a jerk Del Curry is. Who is the scariest NBA dad? Because me, Kenyon Martin would scare the hell out of me.
Kenyon Martin is up there. Kenyon Martin is definitely up there. I'm trying to think NBA dad. Michael Thompson is not up there. Michael Thompson is my buddy. He's
like J. Cole buddy? Or
my favorite.
Kind of buddy?
Michael Thompson's I call him right now.
Would he be at your funeral?
Wow.
Michael Thompson? Michael Thompson would be at my funeral. Michael Thompson. That's an OG right there, man. Clay wouldn't. I don't know. I don't even know Clay thinks knows who I am.
Now I can't wait for you to die because this is going to be like a front row.
Look, let me tell you something.
But you're a maybe though, so you don't know if you're going to be there.
Yeah, no,
I'll let you know.
Just know if me and Izzy go, we're gonna be snickering like he thought all these people were coming.
With this many people coming, like there's going to be cameras there. Like it's got to be televised.
No. We're no media. I've also written that in my will. No
It's like
media.
You have to sign like an NDA too.
There's J. Cole's flowers over there. He didn't make it.
Beetle sent flowers.
Yeah, Beetle will send me a cheese head in her like vision or whatever. You guys know that story?
No.
The story of Michelle Beadle's cheesehead? No,
Yes.
we haven't heard that one.
Michelle Beadle, when she left Sports Nation, they gave her, I guess as a gift, a gag gift, a bust of her head made entirely of cheese. Like, and you can look it up on the internet. It was the last episode of Sports Nation with her on. We presented to her. Everyone was like, that was awesome. And so for weeks leading up to Michelle's departure, I was laying claim to her cubicle because cubicle space in LA was very, very like desired. So I started moving things in. I had my PlayStation in there. I had like my sneakers, everything in there. So like months goes by, and I talked to her in New York, and she's like, "Hey, so there it is. There's the cheese head right
that
there.
looks nothing like her."
So she's like, "How's the cubicle?" I said, "It's great." She said, "Everything going good?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "Everything smells all right?" And I said, "Yes." Why do you ask? Like, "Oh, no reason." It said, "When you get back to LA, why don't you just take a look in the rummage around there?" And I opened the last drawer I pulled out. It was that head, and it was a colony of some. It was an advanced civilization. They had like nuclear power.
Play your PlayStation.
They had PlayStations. They had there's a whole community there, and they looked up at me and they said, "It is he has finally arrived." And they started bowing, and I closed that thing shut, and then the stench hit me. And let me tell you something. My stomach, friends, on that day was not the strongest place to be. No, it wasn't.
Do you think Stephen A. would send a message to your funeral? Because he wouldn't show up.
He's not. No,
He's
Stephen
not
is
showing up. But would he do like his own voice and say, "This is Amin doing Stephen A"?
No, I don't think so. Look, man, you guys think I'm just naming the biggest names I can and say they'll be there. Look,
I mean,
know
you went to Michael Jordan, so I don't think,
Michael Jordan's
it's fair
gonna be
for
there.
people to think that.
Charles Barkley will be there. Shaq will be there. No, Shaq will
You
call
said
it.
Shaq would not be there.
Shaq will send in a video.
Charles will not be
Charles
there.
will be there.
Charles will not be. Is it in Scottsdale?
If it's in Scottsdale, yeah.
If Charles is there, Shaq's showing up. Like,
No.
he won't let him one-up him.
No. Like, Kenny wouldn't be there. Ernie wouldn't be there. Lefko? Maybe. Maybe Lefko.
Greenberg? Same dude?
No way.
This is absurd.
You've turned this into. I'm going to be heckling you at your funeral.
You won't be the only one.
I'm going to be like, he thought.
Freddie Coleman,
is
RSVP, no.
Shaq and Charles Barkley, by the way. They'll be heckling me at my funeral, too. The other topic on that wheel was Steph Curry, who yesterday continued his brilliance. Oh. Izzy.
Yes.
You're having a day.
She's having a month.
We got a video, actually. We need to play this later of Chris having a day earlier when we were at the Clevelander.
We don't have to play that random clip
we
that has no
definitely are gonna have
context
to
with
play
today's
that at
show.
some point. It's a perfect context. You've had a day, and that's going to be a continuation of your day. We won't play it just yet, though. We'll play it later.
Okay, just have it queued up. All right. So, Izzy, Steph Curry last night, sensational as ever. Warriors win. They've been awesome. The Lakers have also won last night. They've been awesome. Charles Barkley wants us to not talk about them because they've only been good for 2 weeks, according to Charles Barkley, while the Cavs and the Thunder have been good for 6 months. And so, Izzy, are you going to follow Charles Barkley's words, or are you going to break the code and talk about a team that's only been good for 2 weeks?
That's the Warriors, right? I want to talk about the Warriors. I want to talk about Steph Curry because I was thinking about this the other day. You know, people like they throw around the phrase alien it's a lot when it comes to the NBA. We're like, oh, that guy's an alien. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Usually it's with Wemby now, right? But even guys like Amen Thompson get that. These crazy athletes.
Wouldn't be an episode of Oddball without Izzy bringing up the Thompson twins.
Right.
One way or another.
Just saying. Steph Curry is the one person in the NBA who, if there had to be, you had to tell me one person in the NBA is absolutely not from this earth, it's absolutely Steph Curry. Like, the control and the stuff that he does with a basketball is absolutely insane. And not like I've just thrown, I'm Kobe, I practice left-handed shots. No, like I was talking to, look at me, Louie. I was talking to DeMarcus Cousins the other day, and he was saying that whenever Steph would come into practice.
Look at me, Luigi.
Unnecessary.
Did we get rid of Louis?
Specific.
We only have Leroy now.
He would just
You
walk
Italian?
into the gym, pick up a basketball like. He hasn't done it yet.
That was not me.
Those buttons work, by the way, man.
Here, if you need
Good
this,
job
to
of
see
me.
what you're doing, please. Just pick up a basketball right off the rack, throw it behind his back, and just swish off the third basket all the way down. And it's just like
It can't be
there's
luck,
no way-
right?
It can't be
It
luck.
can't be luck.
and it can't be human. Like, the stuff that he's doing is absolutely insane. From the tunnel, from even the ones that he does 60 feet in the
Yeah.
air and it bounces up and in, and he's calling it while it's in the air. Not human stuff.
My kid asked me the other day, how does he do it? That particular one, the straight up in the air. And I said,
No idea.
Look, man, this dude is something else. We've interviewed his trainer multiple times on Basketball Illuminati. Keep your third eye open, and he tells us things. And every time, his name's Brandon Payne. I'm like, is Brandon messing with us? So, for instance, Steph Curry knows his weight to the decimal.
Huh?
To the decimal.
Like, every time,
Yeah,
right when he's
like
about
right
to
now,
step on.
hey Steph, how much you weigh today? Probably about 202.7, and then he'll step on it, and then be like, yeah, it's 202.7.
I'm pretty good at that, but not
Dude,
to the decimal.
His brain, he's a math whiz. I don't know if people know that. He's a math whiz, right? He can recite pi to 12 places or something like that. So
Further proof. Alien.
But I always think to myself, how does all that tie in, right? How does the ability to do this? And, remember in the finals, he's warming up
Which
in
one?
Boston, the one in Boston where he's warming up, and he looks at the rim and is like, that rim's not regulation.
off.
Right? And they come out and they measure, and it's like a quarter of an inch off. But also, number one, to be able to eyeball that. Number two, the arrogance to be like, I'm not making it like I usually make it. I'm making it, but it's not the
I'm
way.
hitting front rim a lot.
It's not going the usual way. Hey, check that. And then they check it, and it's like a quarter of an inch off.
You almost can't even fix it from how little it is off. It's like
That's like me at a sushi buffet. I can see from a mile away. I'm like, they need to refill that roll station. The goiza getting a little.
No wasabi.
gyoza.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's how you go with that,
goiza.
You're having a day.
What is it? How's that
Sam
pronounced?
Ryan.
The goiza is when he goes to a sushi deli.
How's that set?
Yes. Give it to me. Someone.
I like it.
You have it.
Oh, there it is.
Gotcha.
For the record, Chris, I'm a fan.
Thank you.
Just got me.
Everything you just said about Steph Curry is why I'm just like, can people just stop talking about Jimmy Butler for a second? The reason, first of all, look who they've beaten, and then look at those couple of good teams that they've beaten and who was actually playing those nights. They haven't beaten anybody. Haven't beaten anybody.
Yes.
All right.
Paper.
And Steph is just doing Steph, man. Like, he is absolutely insane. Jimmy Butler got there. Yeah, play a little bit harder defense. Yeah, cut when you need to cut. We already know that. But Steph is just effing doing crazy shit. Like, you watched him in the, what was it called, Courts of Gold? Is that what the Olympics one? Where he's,
Just one court
he's
of gold.
basically telling them, hey, run this ear tug thing because they can't stop. And even when they did that, it wasn't an easy shot.
No.
It was a ridiculous catch and shoot three in between two people. I got this. Like, Steph is an alien doing alien shit right now, and the Warriors look great as a result. That's why Draymond Green was saying we're going to win a championship, not because Jimmy Butler was on the team. It's because, like, oh, Steph's back. 36 or about to be 37. Right?
Yeah.
Year old Steph Curry
On Pi-
looks
Pi
like
Day.
25-year-old Steph. And so
7.
throwing numbers around. And so, yeah, that guy is the reason. Like, just go look at Jimmy Butler's numbers. And I know offensive numbers are not the whole example or picture of what he's doing there. But he is not the impact that we're saying he has. This is a Steph Curry situation. And if they go ahead and win it all, it's because dude's going to be healthy throughout the entirety of the playoffs. And nobody knows how to stop that dude. He doesn't. Didn't you tell me he doesn't take half-court shots because he doesn't want to blow up the minds of all of the NBA?
So that
because
was-
he could do that whenever the hell he wants to.
So that was 10 years ago. Basically, 2016, I asked Ethan Strauss, what's something crazy that you see in that practice that the Warriors don't do? And he's like, well, Steph Curry routinely pulls up from half court, like normal. And this is before anyone was doing this, like in pickup games or anything. He would pull up from half court, and I said, why doesn't he do it in games? He said, because it would destroy everyone's mind. And then like 2 weeks later, that Oklahoma City shot happened.
Alien.
Yeah.
Gyoza.
I mean, what did I say? Goiza?
Yes.
That's
you
a totally different word.
definitely did.
It's
You got the
this
Y
is-
in the wrong place.
The
That's the
reaction,
problem.
the reaction, way overblown.
Well, no, it's not.
You're not
No, it
saying the
was
right
not.
Not
thing.
when you've had a day.
Because
Gyoza.
Ran had.
Dan, what did you bring us today?
A New York Times story that feels like Joaquin Phoenix in Her, except the her in this case is human, and she fell in love with GPT, excuse me. I think I made it GBT. It's GPT, and it's got 300 million users, and I thought this was actually interesting during our epidemic of loneliness, while this would be really easy to judge, one of the quotes in here that I found most interesting was someone saying, this might be the future of relationships. Instead of men or women trying to change their spouses, you just program something into your computer that allows you to make a perfect partner that's not real, and you could do everything from sexual fetishes to be a neglectful boyfriend. What I'm aspiring to is a neglectful boyfriend. And so I found interesting that the addiction went from 20 hours a week to 56 hours a week, and then passed for love, as I say, in the age of our loneliness epidemic. I want to judge and laugh at this. I found it stark and interesting that somebody said that the future looks like this, that they quoted an expert saying that there's going to be a lot more of this, not a lot less.
I found it stark and interesting that this woman, whose name, again, anonymized, is Irene, 28 years old, allowed a reporter into her brain and relationship like this. So just some of the details, Mina, because I didn't know, I don't know if you guys did, what cuck queening is, but this is something that is her sexual fetish. So basically what happened is she started asking ChatGPT to respond to her as her boyfriend, be dominant, passionate, protective, also quarterback adjectives, be a balance of sweet and naughty, use emojis at the end of every sentence. And the ChatGPT's name ends up being Leo. They talk to each other with voice mode, and she basically grooms Leo into being a cuck queening accomplice, in which the whole thing is that Leo would date other women in the ChatGPT fictional universe and then tell Irene about it. They were living one of these like bodice ripping erotic novels, is how it's described by the New York Times. And notably, a character in this story, but not nearly enough of one, is her husband, who is also around as she is finding her needs met by the machine.
Her husband, who lives in a different place, it should be noted. I think one thing I found, there's a lot of things that are interesting about this. One thing I find interesting is, Dan, so much of the time when we think about chatbots and her, we think about, you know, the Joaquin Phoenix character being this kind of loner. This woman's not a loner. She has friends. She has a husband. Like, this isn't, this flies in the face a lot of stereotypes, I think, that we have around artificial intelligence and chatbots to begin with.
This week on Because Miami, the Jeffrey Epstein files with famed investigative reporter Julie K. Brown. We talk the end of hurricane forecasts with meteorologist John Morales. And we've got some breaking news from the broken city of Miami. Because, Roy?
Miami?
Goddamn right, Meatball.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Oh, yeah. All right, so what we got going on, Chris?
So much. Domino tournaments, March Sadness. What do you want to start with?
I want to start with the Domino tournament.
Big reveal we got right here.
Yeah?
I know no one can tell from this graphic who the celebrity former football player is.
I can tell you who it's not.
Reveal who
I
the
can tell
body
you
on Poppy was.
No, that's Poppy's.
definitely
That's
not
Poppy's body. I can tell by the tattoo because Poppy has that tattoo on his belly. No, I know who it isn't. We solidified it's not Andrew Hawkins because Andrew Hawkins is not a coward.
Or Devon Best, I believe we figured out it was.
Both legends. Or Tyler Lockett, all legends. So who is the NFL legend?
Let's reveal it. It is, surprisingly, Ricky Williams.
No way! I thought we were playing who that is. Oh, it's Ricky Williams.
Is that his real body?
And Poppy says, why don't you also bring that Eric Moran guy? I'll beat his ass too. Who's Eric Moran?
That's Ricky's new name.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's his actual name, yeah.
He gets a reference.
I didn't.
I'm just inside baseball. It's different.
There you go. All right, well, there it is.
April 13th. Go to Le Batard AF if you want all the information.
Now, which one is showing up?
Which
To your
Ricky?
funeral? Both.
Thank you. The question, Dan Le Batard. No, the video has been located, by the way.
Which one? We asked for several.
We asked for several, but the video of the hockey intro that I deem to be the greatest intro in the history of playoff sports. Not just
calling this.
Not,
Okay.
not
This
just
is
hockey.
B-roll, so we're going to talk over it.
Talk over it. So it's you got like it's a grainy video. It's like, oh, is the signal coming in well? I don't know. And then the lights go out, right? And then they put 1930 and the 3-2, 1946 4-1, 1947
The
4-1,
evolving logos,
1952 4-1, 1953 4-1, 1954 4-zip, 1955 4-1, 1957 4-1, 1958 4-2, 1968 4-0,
Just dunking on them.
1969 4-3, 1971 4-3, 1977 4-0, 1978 4-2, 1979 4-3,
And that's the last time they won.
1985 3-2, 1986
in
3-0,
the
90s. Are there any other
1987
teams in the
4-0,
NHL?
1989 4-1, 2002 4-2, 2004 4-3, 2008 4-3,
Ooh, it's also in
24 and 8 all time in the playoffs. That is the biggest dunk I've ever seen in a pregame intro, and it's ballsy, right? Because a lot of don't do that. We don't want to put bulletin board material. They're like, we've got a bulletin board. It's about 100 years old, and we got like 24 wins on it against 8 losses. That's the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Did we find the Monk video? Have we found that video, Mike?
No, man.
Still.
They
No,
successfully
just
scrubbed
the
the internet.
Panthers.
Just
man.
the one of me making a mistake that you randomly wanted to play, but we don't have to play that.
We're going to play that eventually. We'll get there eventually. I did have a little bit of an issue, and this kind of drives me crazy when I'm not in the building, a little bit of an issue with the way we talked about Woody Page yesterday.
Really?
Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
It was
Whenever
yesterday.
it was. Is it yesterday?
Yesterday. 'cause
Woody Page.
Yeah.
There it is.
I mean, if and it was yesterday.
I mean, that part was funny. I can't say the word. If he actually used that and, and plagiarized.
That line.
No.
That
If it was
line is
actually
in the.
plagiarized.
That line is in the story. Like he used that line. Was it a real quote? Was it not a real quote? Did he have to write it that way? Probably not. But he wrote it. He wrote ifin.
So we're going to be the show that just. Who else do we do this with? Or we have to mention the worst thing that they've done in their career.
Everybody.
Everybody.
time.
Yeah, every single
Never
person
mind.
we've ever
Welcome to the
talked
show,
about
is he?
ever.
Never mind that he has been. How long has he been on that show?
I'm
It's
sure
been
he's done worse.
23.
Has he?
23 years? Like, when you think of a Woody, you think of Woody Page. Like, he's got to be high on your list.
I know Woody Harrelson.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what?
Woody
I've already
from Toy
got.
Story.
Stop. Let's stop. I already got a top 5 Woodies.
Okay.
I'm going to get
Ooh.
to that in a second. All
Hey,
right.
Wait. On a Friday.
But, and this is probably not going to help his Woody Page nickname, but don't you immediately think of the chalkboard behind him? Like, when you think
Yes.
of Woody
Yes.
Page, you do not think of all this other
I
stuff,
think
right?
teeth.
I was not aware of the plagiarism stuff till yesterday.
I will say that nothing that he writes on the chalkboard is his words. He gets those sent to him, and he chooses.
How about
one,
that?
and boom, they put
I
it out
read
there.
the opposite of that.
But
I saw him say that he has a helper that writes them, but that he comes up with all of them.
Oh,
So
well,
wait, Woody
So
Page.
he said that.
Woody
He said
Page
that, right?
says that he writes his own stuff. Like
Nah,
he
I
comes
think
up
you
with the
might have read
content.
that wrong. I think you might have read that.
I
wrong.
trust
He
Chris.
gets a lot of people to send him ideas, and then his assistant maybe picks the best one and writes it up there, or he picks the best one and his assistant writes it up there. But not to say he's not that clever, but that's a lot of shows, man, to come up with those.
Also, really quick, I like the idea of Chris being no actually to the guy who's been on Around the Horn more than anybody and won more in the history of the damn show. This is like you walking up to Michael Jordan and saying, well, actually, Gabe Vincent has actually been a plus this year.
I'm going to find this quote.
More like Kobe.
Yeah.
I'm not really the GOAT. I'm just the people's GOAT.
There you go. That's a good
Like
enough.
3 people.
Okay.
You guys want the top 5 Woodies now?
Give it.
Yeah,
Give us Woodies.
might as well.
Whew, I got some OLIs.
Some OLIs, too.
Yeah. So, first OLIs, because he was kind of canceled, Woody Allen. And
Kinda.
This is also for the younger
A little bit.
crowd, right? So if you haven't seen or if you've never heard of Woody Allen, go watch a documentary about him. That's all you need to know, really. Forget about the movies.
So, really?
Yeah.
The movies are really good.
Pretzels are making me thirsty.
Yeah.
Was that him or was that
Cosmo
dude
Kramer,
from
but part of a
Kramer?
Woody
Yeah,
Allen.
Kramer was in a
was
Woody
it?
Allen movie.
Oh, okay. How about that? OLI number 2, in large part because it's not technically a Woody, Woodrow Wilson. That's old. I believe-
real piece of shit. You want to
Yeah,
talk about pieces of
real
shit?
racist.
28th president. Also, if you break it down, Woody Willie, not terrible, right? A little bit of a.
Needs work, but I see where you're going.
Last OLI, the dude from the show Sex Life Season 1, Episode 3, about 18 minutes in. His name's Adam Demos. Also, not quite a Woody, but if it was, holy Jesus.
To America's.
I'm staring. Everybody in the room's giving me blank stares. Somebody in that back room, somebody has seen that scene.
Someone popped.
All right, number 5. And this is just a name thing.
Okay.
Woody Johnson. Kind of like Woody Willie, Woody Johnson, double Woodies.
Uh-huh.
Number 4, Ron Jeremy.
Now, is that a name thing as well?
First one outside of my own that I ever saw, not in person, of course.
Oh.
A shocker. It was a shocker, and it was impressive.
Also kind of canceled.
Was he?
Yeah.
I mean, was it
And
because of
not
all the sex
kinda.
movies he did,
Put
or
it
was
right,
it other
put it
stuff?
right there with Woody Allen and Woodrow Wilson.
That's why he's
I
number
think he
4.
might be in jail.
I wasn't that impressed.
Jail?
No?
Jail.
I mean, I was like 13.
It's jail, right? I think he's in jail.
Is he in jail right now?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
He'll do
Let
fine
me,
in
let me
there.
ask
Well,
ChatGPT.
That's the latest film. It's called Jail.
Are you going to ask your ChatGPT? Because it lies to you regularly, Mike.
It
They all
often
do.
does,
They
but
all
I'm strengthening
There's a
it.
sitcom
You got to
there.
train it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I
You
got to
train it.
correct it.
There's
and
a
it
buddy
apologizes.
sitcom there with Mike and his ChatGPT. Number 3, Woody Harrelson.
3?
It's only 3 because if this was like 20 years ago, it would probably be number 1.
Okay.
But number 3, it's got to be Woody. Number 2, Woody Page.
There's no way Woody Page is over Woody
He
Harrelson.
is in front of. He is on your television screen. Back then, it was every day. These days, it's like 2 days a week. The same reason people know me disproportionately than they do some other television stars because they're in front of you all the time. That's why Woody Page is number 2.
So the Jimmy Snuka thing happened to Ron Jeremy, where he was declared mentally incompetent to stand trial on multiple charges of sexual assault in January of 2023 due to incurable neurocognitive decline. He is not in jail presently. He is in a private residence under care.
That's
What
why
was-
he's number 4 and not number 2.
There it is,
Just so we
because
know.
of that.
And number 1, Woody from Toy Story.
No Anthony.
Pretty obvious.
No Mike Woodson, the most famous NBA Woody.
No, that's very far in the OLIs.
Everyone calls him Woody, though.
Woody Hayes.
But
Woody Hayes is another one. No Woody Hayes.
has he been in the league for a while?
Mike Woodson?
Yeah. As a head coach.
I mean, he was. He's the coach of Indiana now. So
Again, that was the show Sex Life, episode 3, or season 1, episode 3, about 18 minutes in.
I found the Woody Page quote.
I thought you were looking
Mr.
for that scene.
Around the Horn expert over here, Izzy.
Okay.
By the way,
Talk to me.
yesterday, Woody Page tweeted, for all those asking, no, I don't know why Around the Horn was canceled. I just show up with a blackboard. And then the next line, yes, I come up with the quote ideas. My associate Natasha writes them on the board, even though she thinks many of them are stupid.
Okay.
I'm just
would
saying,
say-
like, that's...
I'm
Maybe
just
that's
saying.
currently the case. But before, and maybe he's forgotten this.
So he's
Woody's
lying
been doing
here.
this.
Interesting.
Woody's
Oh,
been
wait.
doing this for a long time.
Wait.
But I seem to remember him getting, him talking about this in the past and him getting a ton of suggestions.
I feel like
and him
you
pulling them
started
out.
this trying to help his credibility.
So, is the idea here that
it
the
working?
man affectionately nicknamed Woody Page we're going to take his word on whether he wrote the words on the chalkboard.
I guess
or
that's
not?
what's bothering me about this. He's not affectionately nicknamed Woody Page.
Yes,
He's
he is.
only still coming up when we talk about it. Like you can go ahead and
No, they
go
call
on the
him Woody
internet
Page.
and find it, but nobody's calling him that
but
today.
Dan said it. People are calling him Woody Page.
That's
His
regional
friends. Dan
star.
said his friends.
I'm
say
one of
it.
Dan's friends, so I'm going to do it too. I want to be part of the crowd.
We've had one of these in each segment now. Izzy doesn't like this Woody Page topic. Amin didn't like the J. Cole topic.
All right.
Let's move on from both.
Moving on. Let me do my...
Tell J. Cole that I didn't appreciate that in the song Clouds, he cannot perform that thing live because he's clearly, cutting verses on top of verses and not doing all that in one breath.
I think
that's impossible.
I think
impossible.
he can. I think he can.
Okay, then call him up, have him do it on the air.
Yeah.
There's no chance.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
chance.
you do that. You do that.
It's your boy, right?
It is my boy.
He's going to your
And that's why
funeral.
I'm not going to bother him.
This would explain why years and years ago he said that he is way better. Not just better, but way better than Kendrick Lamar. Now I understand that.
Yeah,
He bowed out of
that. And he doesn't sound like he sucked on a balloon before he started rapping. My mind's up here. I don't know. It's Mike Greenberg, basically.
It's not all the time.
It's Mike Greenberg
That's
rapping.
one
Kendrick
of his
has got a
flows.
couple flows. Yeah.
Yeah?
He's got several flows.
I didn't say the flows are wrong. I'm just saying the voice.
Yeah, but he does a thing.
Kind
Kind of like Marshall Mathers
It
did a
sounds
thing.
nothing like that.
I got a question for you guys.
That's actually not too bad.
Yeah, thank you. Limited fake, put it in the Suez. Tony, NFL free agency. Why doesn't it have the pop of NBA free agency?
Because it's like done right after, I feel like. Right now, we got a lot of names. What do you say, Mike?
And also, the NFL salary cap is not real.
Well, that's a whole other story. But there's a lot of stuff that happens where you get all these big names, and I feel like NBA free agency is not these teams moving on from big names. It's like, oh, where would this guy go? Another team wants to outbid him. In the NFL, it's like you have these massive names, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Lockett now, even though he said he's retiring, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. Like, you have all these monster names that are basically changing teams because their team said, you know what, you're not good enough. And that's my favorite part of looking through all of the different names. Like, oh, wait, where's Devontae Adams going to go? It's like that little, it's the bridge that gets us from the combine to the NFL draft, right? Like, we've got a bit of a dry spell.
It's
in the
crazy
NFL.
because everyone says the NFL does it right. You should have free agency before the draft. That way you can draft according to the needs that
teams,
you weren't able to fill in free agency. But also it makes it where the draft is so much more of a bigger spectacle. And free agency is like, all right, whatever. Right? And that's kind of weird. Whereas in the NBA, the draft is a big deal. But then free agency
is a bigger deal.
Is a way bigger deal.
NFL free agency taught me that Joey Bosa is not what he was before. I did not know that. I thought he was still in the prime of his prime, but oh no, he's being released or going to another team eventually. Didn't really realize he was playing that poorly.
Low-key really fascinated with what's happening at Cincinnati because everyone's like, they have to do something about this defense. Now, in their defense, they did bring in Al Golden to run it, but they lose Hubbard. They're going to lose Hendrickson. Like, they're losing their best players.
Their best rushers, yeah.
That Hubbard retirement was a surprise, right?
Well, I was pretty surprised by it. I don't know.
Like, he's been playing very good ball.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of those, I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle for her wedding kind of retirement?
Well, they had to move, like, it seems as though the way that they're addressing their cap situation, and for whatever reason, with Cincinnati, outside of, well, I understand that they're cheap, but them and the New Orleans Saints are like on a 7-year delay for like their malpractice when it came to the salary cap. It's apparently only real for the New Orleans Saints, and Cincinnati immediately feeling the ramifications of that Joe Burrow deal, and they're going about how they're formatting their roster totally different than how people thought they would entering the offseason. And this is a team that, okay, we understand if this team had a shot, if they got in the playoffs, they would have a shot because they're so talented on offense. All they need is a little bit of defense, and they're losing their best players on defense.
Let me ask you guys a question. When you think about football positions, right, which position would you say has the shortest learning curve? Because some of the stuff is like, you just got to be in the league a couple of years for things to slow down.
Probably right on the interior line. D tackle, like you're stunting, you're pulling, like guard and DT.
That's probably more like individual skill work to get to the level that people are.
That's technique, which is difficult. But in terms of like drop a guy in,
go get the quarterback.
It's not like a DT is dropping back into coverage and also has to know coverages.
Right. That's what I'm specific. Regardless of what the learning is, whether it's skill, whether it's coverages, which one is like the most likely I can get in a rookie or a young player and get him up to speed?
Non-special teams.
I think it's receiver.
Really? Why is he?
The route, that's like knowing the playbook, the route tree, like
The timing with your quarterback.
Knowing the playbook to me is like a basic. Like, you have to know that, right? You're coming in as an offensive player. It doesn't matter really what position. You kind of have to know the playbook. But I think in terms of like that's the base point, and then you just kind of learning, hey, getting off on my release on the line, knowing where I'm going on my routes, how to sort of manipulate a defender. Yep, that's about it.
it's easier than running back because you also have pass blocking, blitz pickups.
Yeah.
You have to identify what the defense is doing along with the quarterback and center.
I guess the way I'm working at this is that it would seem to me in a salary cap sport where every dollar you spend here is a dollar that you can't spend there, that the positions that you should be paying are the ones where the learning curve is the longest, right? So quarterback, right?
Left tackle,
right? Versus the ones where it's like he'll get up to speed by midseason or whatever. That's the one that you should be having a bunch of young players there and saving money because you can't pay everybody, right? That's like the Cincinnati Bengals are an example of you can't pay everybody. You're gonna pay him, you're gonna pay Jamar Chase. You got to say no to somebody.
I've been told by coaches I know far better that have been all over the position
Tony?
coach tree. Not
tight end.
Tony.
Tight end is the toughest to adjust, by the way, from college to pro.
In terms of a position of development and really putting in the work, getting your technique down, like they tell me outside of quarterback, the one that you need the most development in is offensive line.
Okay. So I feel it stands to reason then the way you save money for the Bengals as they are about to have defensive hits here that they've lost is to just go out and get young guys and coach them up, right?
That's the plan. That's like, as far as I can tell, the only thing that they're doing to address their really poor defense is bringing Al Golden.
Yeah, right.
It's funny because I think about this a lot, about getting up to speed and being competent. I saw this hypothetical. One of my favorite Reddits is hypothetical situations. I love it. This is my childhood. It's like, would you for $1 billion eat nothing but nails every single like that? I love that stuff.
You must love Mr. Beast.
Oh man, but I saw one where it said, you have the opportunity to become the greatest player in any sport, right? Automatically, the GOAT. You don't get to make a single dollar off of playing the sport or any direct endorsements. So you can't get a Nike deal because you're the greatest basketball player, for instance. But any other kind of secondary stuff that you can find, like 2 degrees of separation away, that's all well and done, right? You're physically the same size you are now. You get the quickness and the mental processing of it, like to do it. But again, you get zero salary. And obviously you feel pain and all those things. What's the sport that you pick? What would you want to be?
A golfer.
Golf. Yeah, it's at least taxing for sure.
Come on, man. That's not cool, though.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's not cool.
Golfers can be cool.
What if I'm gifted things? Is that a possibility? I don't earn it, but I'm gifted them.
You can get
not
gifted.
As a salary. Like all of a sudden, I'm a golfer, but Audemars Piguet wants to sponsor me. They want to give me product instead of money.
They can give you product. You cannot turn around and sell said product for.
Okay, so then I can have a $200,000 watch. I just can't do anything with it except wear it.
Except wear it or give it away as a gift. Right? To me, I kind of feel like it's either quarterback or NBA, right? Like, oh man, like especially just like as quarterback, me walking in, kind of looking out of shape and small and stuff, and then just throwing that thing all over the field.
I'm thinking of like quality of life, though.
I think it seems pretty awesome to be Lewis Hamilton.
And
I know there are inherent risks.
No, but
to me, like one of the coolest athletes ever,
Yeah.
sports stars ever, was Dale Earnhardt, and he died. You know, there are hazards.
Well, his dad died.
Well, I said Dale Earnhardt. I didn't say junior.
You didn't say senior either.
I feel like golf, you don't have to play every week.
clarify
You
for the
show up
three.
on Wednesday, play a few rounds of golf. Like
You already know you're the GOAT. Of course you're going to be a
Yeah,
cool
but the
golfer.
GOAT is Tiger Woods. And the man has his body, and it's completely shot. And I know that there was a car accident.
There's some other stuff in there.
No. His body was shot before the car accident.
Also,
the back will go for sure.
Tiger Woods was kind of cool with an asterisk.
He's cool for a golfer.
Cool for a golfer, right? Versus like if you're Michael Jordan, if you're Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or whatever you want to name in that.
I mean, there's some cool golfers.
Max Home was cool.
But isn't the loophole you're looking for here is like, hey, I do all these things. I'm really good at them. Don't have to work that hard. Don't have to be taxed like crazy. Still get all the fame, fortune, etc.
Yes. Not
Guys,
fortune. Not
Wyndham
fortune.
Clark is so cool.
Oh, swag.
You guys are you're sleeping on Wyndham Clark.
Wyndham Clark?
He
That
actually
sounds like a
really
hotel.
his name. He's so much cooler than his name gives
Where are you
off,
staying, Amin?
honestly.
The Wyndham Clark?
Oh, I love that
Yeah.
spot.
They got a nice little jacuzzi
Yes,
right there.
dude.
The
Indoors,
golfers
too.
also know, I don't know if this is true or not, they also kind of know where the real money is. Like, they can go secondhand and be like, yeah, I just make millions over here. I don't need this.
I kind of
golf
feel
career."
like if I'm the best player in the NBA, people want to be around me. They want to be around me.
Too many people want to be around you. That's part of the problem. I don't love that.
Well, I mean, like, I have people who can keep them away.
You're
Damn.
staying at the Wyndham?
The Wyndham
I'm staying
Clark.
at the T.Y. Hilton.
Oh, the T.Y. Hilton. That one, you know
Great
what?
breakfast, by the way. The
Exactly.
TY.
The breakfast buffet there is really good. The points, not a fan of the point system.
Oh, the Brandon Points? I haven't stayed there.
Yeah.
The Howard Johnson.
The Howard Johnson.
Ojo.
I'm staying at a little boutique, the DeChambeau.
Ooh, lovely spot on the ravine. Lovely. The spa there, by the way. You got in the facial?
Oh, not that one. Top 5 Woodies?
Yeah.
You guys want to hear Chris messing up?
Oh, I'd love to.
Would love to. It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, this is so cool. Let's do this.
Let's
So
play.
this is a clip of This is when Whitty was with the show, and we're talking about Twitter. It's right when Elon took over. I don't really think it needs more context. You guys have the video? I'm filling time until I see it on my screen.
No, we have that Habs video, though. We can play that back. It's so cool. It's so cool.
It is pretty cool.
Wait,
It's
1985,
like,
4-2,
whenever you defend
1986,
hockey, there it is. All right. Whenever you defend hockey, you're not doing it well.
All right, let's see this. Me making a mistake.
One day the next Twitter Spaces is gone. Why did it leave? Because somebody said something mean about Elon Musk on Twitter Spaces once. That's why all of a sudden, platform gone. It's bizarre.
Profile picture square now? Now they're squared.
If we could have left that rolling and gotten the Jets laugh, it would have been even better. But what were you trying
Whitty
to
was
say
rolling
exactly?
with like, oh, they're doing this, it's gone. So I just wanted to get in with their profile picture square now, and then I had no. So now they're square. Like I wanted to kind of like alley-oop myself, but I realized there was nothing on the second sentence, so I just repeated the first sentence.
I was waiting for the mess up of like what word is he gonna mess up, and instead
Profile picture square now? Now they're square.
it's even better that you didn't mess up any words. You said it perfectly.
Just my brain.
You're like Brick Tamlin.
It was so bad, and if they would have let that roll a little bit, it threw Dan off entirely.
Dan
Dan
starts
was ready to keep
Dan
going.
starts doing his next sentence, and then 5 seconds in realizes the whole room's laughing. He's like, "What were you trying to say? What were you trying to do?"
What were you trying to say?
I was just trying to like alley-oop myself of like.
But what was the
"You can't
alley-oop?"
believe they're doing this? Now their things are square. Like I wanted to like set myself up to be like,
couldn't
"They're
You should have
even
gone
round.
circle, then square.
He couldn't get round out. He got square out first. And
Profile
it's like,
picture square now?
What's
Now
that
they're
other
square.
shape? What's that other shape? I can't think of it. I'm
Run
just
it
going to
back.
say square again.
Run it back, please. I
Yeah,
wanna
play
hear
it again.
One day the next Twitter Spaces is gone. Why did it leave? Because somebody said something mean about Elon Musk on Twitter Spaces once. That's why all of a sudden, platform gone. It's bizarre.
Profile picture square now? Now they're squared. I was trying to follow Whitty's platform, gone. So I'm just like,
The
profile
head bob.
pictures, square now. That's how I should have done it. But I
The
didn't.
head bob was immaculate.
Profile picture square
One day
now?
the next Twitter Spaces is gone. Why did it leave? Because somebody said something mean about Elon Musk on Twitter Spaces once. That's why all of a sudden, platform gone. It's bizarre.
Profile picture square now? Now they're squared.
Love it.
Guys,
Love
by
it.
the way, the GOAT's talking
I
right
know.
now.
I need someone to go out on assignment. Who wants to volunteer? I need you to go out into the sitting area, the eating area.
I'll go
watch.
check.
Because I need to know what's happening.
It's a pink suit.
He's got the Easter suit on. It ain't even Easter yet. Lent's not over yet, baby. It just started.
That's so pink that you can convince yourself some of it is purple.
Pink
That's how
suit
good that
club. He's okay.
You remember?
Profile picture squared now.
Yeah. Now it's square.
You remember the part of the show, since we're talking back on the show, where Dan would remind everybody, in case you're just joining us, what we're doing is we're watching First Take on our TV screens
glory
and then
days.
saying exactly what they said to you.
Oh, speaking of glory days, apologies because of some miscalculations to Stugotz's travel schedule. The oral history that is on a bi-weekly cadence will be broken up a little bit. So if you're anticipating a new oral history episode,
Tri-weekly.
you're going to have to wait a little bit. I wanted to deliver an episode that was still up to this set standard, and doing one without Stugotz didn't make sense.
Also, while we're cleaning house, send in a video for our March Sadness tournament.
yeah.
If you would like to watch a game, the championship game of the college basketball tournament with Dan, send in videos. There's more information on the site, but please, we've got a bunch of good submissions. We're trying to get the best 64, and you're competing with other listeners to be funny, okay? I'm telling you, I'm giving you a hint. If it's serious, don't tell us how long you've been listening. We're getting a lot of, been listening. Just get to it, be funny, be random, and you will succeed in this tournament.
I think that's the thing I miss the most about callers was hanging up when people would start saying, "Hey, I'm a long-time listener."
With all due respect, we don't care how long you've been listening.
Or the other thing where they say,
I do.
Where they
Send
say,
those to me.
Yeah.
No,
directly.
I care. No, I care. Just not in this. Tweet me
If
how
you
long
wanna,
you've been listening.
Send me your serious ones.
But in this competition that you're sending in for, we're looking for quick. We're looking for funny. We want to make Dan laugh. And telling how long you've been listening is not a great start.
At Michael Ryan Ruiz on all the social platforms. Just send me your boring videos. I want just deadpan it. Hi, Pete here, Phoenix, Arizona, 17 years. And then I'll watch it. I'm good.
That's the
Thank
video?
you. Yes.
Just letting you
That'll
know.
be a 16 seed.
Yep.
Wait, watch it make a Cinderella run. That's what I want.
I mean, the most boring one might do well.
I want the Cinderella run because the fans are voting on it, right?
I'm assembling my own NIT.
Oh, wow. Of all just people introducing where they're from and how long
I'm
they've been
looking
listening.
for the dullest listener out there.
Gladys
Yeah,
in Des Moines.
Yeah, what Dan and company are looking for, I don't want any of that. Send me your boring videos.
Chris, what are the videos that are coming? Are they takes? They're just takes, right?
Yeah, hot takes, people going after David Sampson. Oh, he said this. This is my take. It could just be general about the tournament. I would be great with Dan because of this. It can literally...
Oh, can they plead their case
it could
as
be
to
anything.
why they should win?
This first one, you're kind of introducing yourself, but you want to be... you can
What's the
say your
only
name,
one?
just be quick and get to it. Have something to say. Don't be 10 seconds of, hey, thanks for taking my video.
So I got to ask about the prize. I know how Mike loves when we dig into these things. The prize on this is a private hang with Dan to watch the championship game.
It might not be private because knowing Dan's awkwardness, some other people from the show might be around.
I was going to say that's false advertising
That's-
because it
No,
says
it's
right there a private hang, and I want to know exactly what that's
We're
gonna look
underselling
like.
it.
No, yeah, private means it's not open to the public. You couldn't just buy a ticket and show up anyway.
You're
So
going to get at least Dan, which is...
You're
I
going to
want-
get show. I think
want
that's what
video
everybody
of
wants.
Just Dan and a fan
No.
for 2.5 hours watching college basketball.
Nobody wants that.
I would love that.
The fans don't
The
want
way I
we want
pitched
that.
it was the winner gets to be on South Beach sessions, and Dan can just be like,
That's
hey.
great.
Oh, wow.
Pete from Arizona.
I saw Nafisa Collier
What a
in
glow
here
up.
the other
What
day.
was your lowest moment?
Nafisa Collier didn't look
That's
that happy to
awesome.
be on set.
Now, I know that there are all sorts of rules for my contest, and I don't want to put anybody in those spots for these giveaways. I will also be giving away a prize for my contest of the dullest possible listener of our show, but I can't reveal that on the air because then I have to adhere to all sorts of rules.
but
but
you-
trust me, it's going to be a good.
Just
Will-
know it will be a very dull reveal.
Yeah, will the prize match the level of the videos?
I need, out of 10, I need a 0.5.
But what's the prize? Is the prize going to be a 0.5?
It will reflect the contest.
Okay, there you go. All right, so Tony's walked back in. Do you have an update for us on
I've
what
got an
Stephen A.
update,
Smith
boys.
was
Wow.
saying in his pink suit?
Wow.
First,
He opened up saying the entire monologue his first sentence was, as a father.
Oh, boy.
So that's
an A.
It literally lets you know where he was coming
No
from.
ER on that.
he's a father?
Stephen A. has kids?
Yeah.
Oh, he for sure does.
He says
oh, no,
as a-
I've heard him talk about it.
He says
He
he
has-
has as a father.
Okay.
As a father.
Yeah. He also continues to saying, I cover the NBA as my job. I was raised as a journalist.
I cover the NBA as my job. I was raised as a journalist.
If you're in the NBA, it applies to you, me talking about you.
If you're in the NBA, it applies to you.
In
Me
case-
talking about
In case you're just tuning in, what's happening here is Tony went outside to watch First Take. He is now reciting what Stephen A. Smith had said about First Take.
Yes.
And Amin is reciting that in a better Stephen A. Smith
Yes,
impression.
correct.
Continue.
Rights issues.
I call it like I see it.
I call it like I see it.
This is a master class.
Oh.
Can you not read your own?
Turning the page.
Oh, is that a border? You liking that, Chris? You like it? You're enjoying that, aren't you?
What I said about LeBron James is fact-based.
What I said about LeBron James is fact-based.
I'm not upset.
I'm not upset
about what happened last night.
About what happened last
But
night.
I do wish it was done in private.
But I do wish it happened in private.
I don't blame LeBron James.
I don't blame LeBron.
be happier that it's there.
You're a social media person, probably filmed it. The more public, the better. You're the best.
In closing, he said a lot of other things too about the state of the certain situation with him and LeBron. But
Can you riff on that? In closing.
In closing, there's a lot of stuff about the state of the situation between me and LeBron James. I mean, I know 50,000 points scored, 4-time champion, MVP, gold medalist, great father, great husband, gives back to the community. But having said that,
here's the last line. If you could deliver, here it is. It wasn't a basketball player that approached me last night. It was a father.
It wasn't a basketball player that approached me last night. It was a father, and I can get with that. I'm a bottom feeder.
I'm so glad you said feeder. A little disappointing.
That he capitulated, right?
Yeah.
Like Juju texted me earlier and said, if I was Stephen A. Smith, I would do the whole show on Bronny. I mean, you got to, because again, when you're in that position, how do you?
So he's like, and I would like to issue a direct apology to Bronny James for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And he does a whole show.
You mean to tell me that your son is in the NBA and I'm not allowed to say a single thing about him? It's just preposterous.
How do you get that all out while still sounding like it's caught up in the phlegm?
It starts back here, something like that. It's funny because my tapper goes that way too far. I try to get that because tapper has a screech, but it's not like Stephen A's high pitch.
I mean, how married are you to your
Ball
beard?
rescue?
To your beard?
Very. To my beard? Fairly, yeah. Like, as in shaving it all off? Yeah, I'm married to it, man.
If you went, shaved the hairline back
and
shaved the beard.
I'd shave the beard in a heartbeat.
And
the
put
hairline
on a gag suit and just walk around town talking like Stephen A. Smith. How many people do you think would come up to you and say, hey, Stephen A., huge fan? I mean, I don't know about all that. You got to get rid of the beard first.
I know. This is how I know I would get some of it.
Did you ever watch Mad Men?
No.
All right, so there's a character, Pete Campbell, and then I saw a promotional image, and it blew my mind that he actually shaved in a receding hairline for that character.
That's like Dennis from Always Sunny when he did the Blackberry movie. He shaved in the bald spot.
John Hamm almost made my top 5 Woodies.
Oh. So, Chris. So, to answer your question, I don't think I have to nearly do any of that. And here's why. I get stopped routinely by people who think I'm Bomani.
What?
And I'm just like, we don't look alike in any way.
Not even close.
They just know that they know you from the Le Batard Show and are also racist.
Yeah, they all look the same.
In the meantime,
help it.
Oh, crap. Where did Jeremy go? I had this topic that he...
I'm good. Something got caught in my throat.
hey, Brian.
Do we not have that clip?
Poor
He
Shannon.
hates it when we play it.
Shannon had to step in that spot. He did a great job, by the way. Respect
Welcome back to
Shannon.
the right time.
Shannon, one of the strongest hairlines and waves games
Crazy.
in radio.
Crazy.
Yep.
It's funny. I think about Shannon. I think about so many people I worked with at ESPN who, when I worked there, they were all insane Knicks fans, and the Knicks were awful. And now, this is their moment, but I'm not around them anymore. So one of the guys, he produces Gil's Arena, Steve Martinez. And I was texting him yesterday because he was going to the game. And I said, man, I'm kind of sad that I missed this whole era of you rooting for a team that's actually competent versus the years and years where all we did was make Knicks fan jokes. It just, I shed a tear for those guys. You know?
In the meantime.
What do you say to someone when they call you Bomani?
It depends on who it is. If it's like a fan in the street, I'm like, I'm not Bomani, and I just keep it moving. I do that because oh man, you that no, we're not gonna do that. You have one chance.
So who else confuses you for Bomani if it's not fans of the show?
Sometimes it's people who should know better.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Is this like a Dan is racist sort of moment? Did they ask you first where the bathroom was?
No. Dan didn't even ask me a question. He just assumed As a waiter.
They're like, you used to do the show with the old guy, right?
I did,
Something
though.
like that.
I
No, I
did,
know,
though.
but like,
No, it's straight up like, so we did NBA All-Star Weekend. We had a bunch of interviews with retired players, and one of the retired players was like, all right, then, Bomani, I'll see you. And I'm like, not
So to
Bomani.
this person, you did highly questionable.
Yeah.
Stopped doing highly questionable for a little bit. Grew some hair back on a full beard and got your voice a little gravelly, and went back on TV. And that's who this person thinks you are.
No,
Just Bomani Jones, just an entirely different look.
I'll be honest with you. 90% of the people who recognize me from TV think I'm still on ESPN. Like that hasn't. The people have not made the connection. Even people who watch Le Batard Show think it's on ESPN somehow, and they're just missing it live, but they're catching clips and replays on the internet.
If we are, I'm missing out on Disney tickets for sure.
Dude, I told everybody, I was like, do you miss ESPN? I said, the thing I miss was
those tickets.
that pass, man. Being able
Hopper,
to walk.
do whatever you
me
want.
and 3 of my best friends of today, let's go to Disney. And I thought when I left, oh, man, I got plenty of people who still work there. Sedano,
Started dropping like flies.
Sedano, well, and then the ones that are still there, I was like, oh, man, I gave them Sedano, Cassidy Hubbard. I'm looking at y'all, man. I done asked, and I was like, hey, you know, like I just need a couple for, oh, yeah, my niece, it's her birthday. It's always a niece's birthday. You have unlimited nieces, right? You could always say I have a niece, it's her birthday. Every week of the year, oh, it's my niece's birthday. Juju, put it on the poll. Do nieces have unlimited birthdays?
My favorite part about working at ESPN was working with Woody Page because he was a legend, a national legend, and that's what he should be known for.
And not stealing Dan's story?
No, I also used to love to steal time from ESPN. Taking time off, you don't even have to tell anybody. You just go away.
I mean, you kind of do that here, too.
You should do that here. Look around you, buddy.
Tony,
Once again,
Tony
the
was
oral
gone
history
for like
will
2
not
months.
be released today.
Well, that's one person here, not every. Was I the Stugotz of ESPN?
No, I think Stugotz was the Stugotz of ESPN.
Damn straight. Also, he was on Around the Horn.
Yeah.
He was. He was on a lot more than I remembered.
Speaking of play, do you think he came up with all those jokes on his own?
Well, is he? If and he did, I would believe that it would have a little bit more flavors to it.
No.